Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe Panther III.
Hey, hello there, wrestling fans! Well, to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am Joe Panther III, and we are in the middle of June. And June is a flyby month for Dudes at Ringside. Don't really have a theme. It's just going to be a flyby month. I had a woman on the podcast last year that absolutely blew my mind. She was spitfire like myself. She's so much fun. She was a ring announcer. Ghostbuster Joe even thought she was cool too because she is fun. She's everything that wrestling should be. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside return to the one and only Tina. What's up, Tina? What?
Hello! I am Tina Babineau,
Welcome.
East Coast interviewer, backstage shenanigan maker, part-time pro wrestler.
Awesome, Tina. Girl, welcome back to Dudes at Ringside. So, what have you been up to since the last time we've been hanging out in the studio?
Just working on some shoot. No, not at all. He's way tougher than me. Like, whew, makes me tap right away. No, I've been just working a few shows. Springtime is heading into summer, going into the flow. Been doing a few different promotions here locally while working my regular job. Yeah, other than that, just been enjoying the brief, short periods of sun we have here.
Yeah, if you were in PA this morning, it would have been like, yeah, this is another rainstorm in the Poconos. Woke up just like not hearing anything because I live in the basement of my house. So of course, apparently I also lived in a dark, dingy cave. And I go upstairs, eat my yolk. I kept hearing, and I was like, "Was it raining out there?" Dad's like, "Yeah." And we went to work. I put the hood on, the hoodie. Had to go down to get to my facility. I went in, like water's coming down the ramp, and I'm like, "It's the end of the world as I know." Going into my poor residents are like, "Joe, is it ever going to be sunny again?" And I'm like, if I had the power to just make it sunny every day, we have no plants to be all day.
Yeah, I think we had like 2 days of sun in like the last 2 weeks here, and otherwise it's just rain. But it's not snow, so I can't be too mad.
Yeah, it's the one thing. I live in the Poconos, and you're from like the Canadian area. Like, I feel like we share the weather because of PA. We get snow here during the wintertime, and it's just like all the plants just die, just shit the bed. Nothing, can't do anything. Snow, nothing, nada. Like,
Yeah, East Coast of Canada, as soon as like you hit the second week of April, it's like first week of April, you're probably still gonna get snow. Second week of April, the snow is leaving and the rain is immediate. And then rain until snow.
it's crazy. Like, with like you being from Canada, as we were just saying, like, do you ever feel that like being on shows like this that open the wrestling world's eyes a little more to what the talent in Canada can do? You know what I mean?
I mean, I hope so. Canada right now, I feel like has kind of like reignited in pro wrestling right now. Like MLP is Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling with Scott D'Amore behind the helm is incredible right now. And then of course you have like so many other local independent scenes between like Ontario, the Maritimes, Quebec, like West Coast. Yeah, some of it's like I feel like it's kind of booming it's definitely booming in Canada. And like there's new training schools now in Ontario that I know of that some of folks I know that are running and going to. And I feel like it's just going up from there.
I just think it's absolutely awesome what I've seen in Canada. Like, and also let's talk about the promotion a few promotions you represent.
Mhm.
With you, does it always, do you ever feel like there's so many promotions that you could work with without like spanning yourself too far in Canada?
Um, yeah, I think it's very the big thing about Canada is like we're the provinces are just really spread out. So like traveling everywhere in Canada is like it's a hard feat to do just because like plane tickets from here to like Toronto are ridiculously expensive, and like driving is 15-ish hours, and it's if you put the grind into it, not everybody can put the grind into it. I mean, I'd love to, but like I work a day job with long hours, so it's hard for me to do that myself, but I love seeing the folks that I've worked with do that. And here in the Maritimes, like we have quite a few promotions that have like expanded, as well as new ones that have started, and it's like really cool. A lot of them will kind of have other promotions join in. Like one of the ones I work for, Kaizen Pro Wrestling, it's where I trained as well. They did a lot of work recently down in Grind Pro Wrestling in the States. So a lot of the folks have been crossing over there. North Pro, which is initially based out of New Brunswick, but has some Nova Scotia connections now as well, had Pro Wrestling Ontario come in, and it's like a cool mesh for the folks that can get there.
Yeah.
um, and then again, like, you know, to see folks on like, one of our referees here locally in Halifax, Emily, to see her like soar at Major League or Maple Leaf, sorry, is incredible. So yeah, it's really cool to see that. I myself am like, I'm also kind of a niche role, but right now in my actual life outside of wrestling is a little bit difficult, but I enjoy watching the people that I care for and have grown with expand in that way.
See, I don't know if you like. I haven't. Well, this is gonna air in the middle of June, so I am actually taking my hand of trying what you do as a backstage interviewer at High Ground Pro
Hey!
Wrestling. Breaking the news right now. I'm gonna try my hand at backstage interviewing. I've always dreamed of doing it. Watching,
Mm-hmm.
you um, oh, makes me. I'm so proud of myself that I'm trying this achievement because I've only done it on camera like this. I sound, but
Yeah.
do you have any advice for me, like going into being an actual like with the microphone and stuff like that?
Um, Oh, geez. I feel like it's the same in any sort of, whether like I learned it just from training in general and then applied it into interviewing, is just to become very comfortable with yourself. To try not to like go out there immediately being like, I'm going to be this sort of character. Just be you, embrace you. Um, because you yourself will become a character in the universe of the promotion that you're working in. Um, and just, um, if you're not presented a script, just always approach the wrestlers. Like I have sort of like standard questions, like the generic, like it sounds, but like the generic questions of like, how are you feeling after your match? How are you coping after your loss? Like those sort of ones that I can plug in wherever to whoever. But then, the other thing you do if you're not given a specific script of things that you need to hit is to like just always ask the wrestler or whoever it is that you're interviewing, saying like, what do you want for me to get across? Because sometimes it's not even like, sometimes I don't even get asked a question. Like those are actually sometimes my favorite, because it's like you want, like, having another person there versus just them with a microphone cutting a promo gives the opportunity for them to bounce off, for them not to just sound mechanical or repetitive, and like to invoke extra emotion by using you as the additional person. So, and then of course, like, the fun thing is, especially as you know, like, unless you're doing live backstage interviews, if it's a pre recorded interview, you can always do it again.
Yeah, that's my one
Don't be
fear
afraid to
because
do it again.
that's not my one fear, Tina. Is just like it's supposed to be live, and I just botch a word, and I'm like, oh, sorry, blah, blah, and then I have to like keep going, like, oh wow, just tired. I didn't have my coffee yet. Like, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
Oh, I've definitely done that. Names, pronouncing names, saying names, making sure not to say shoot names. I'm just like, oh, but like, even if it's live, there's ways to like, fix it. Sometimes I get moments where like I kind of pause too long because I'm trying to think. And if you're with someone, especially if you're with someone seasoned enough to know to, especially if it's like a heel and they can immediately just like cut into you, so then it gives you that sort of like breath of moment, and it helps to actually build them because like, you know, one time I was going in for an in-ring interview and I wore the dress was way too tight and I stumbled getting into the ring. And like I needed a second to collect myself. So the person I was interviewing was already in the ring and like was a heel thankfully and just made fun of me for like the first couple minutes, or not minutes, but like few seconds for me to like catch up with myself after my little whoop. So it's like, as long as you have someone that you can play off of really well, or that someone that can see that, but like, if not, you know, pro wrestling is art. Art is making what might be a mistake into something adorable, something beautiful.
I have my gear all set. I'm gonna wear my you ever see me with my little blue jacket? I'm gonna
Mm.
wear one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna wear a polo because I have a shirt already planned that I actually got made up from a place that
Nice.
I always get t-shirts. I told him, hey, throw me a t-shirt. I'll wear one of your shirts. And the girl says, you're coming representing dudes at ringside and representing yourself. We're gonna let you wear a dude shirt. And I'm just like,
Nice.
but I want that's cool, thank you. But I'm like, that I want to be representing you guys. Like, I want to market your merch, t-shirts. That's me. That's what I do. And also, I'm like, that's supposed to be going, I'll wear your shirts outside the venue, like at my house, trying to sprinkle in, give me a free t-shirt, I'll wear it. That's me. That's like, I'll,
I mean, if you got a t-shirt, then like you could wear it in other moments like if there's other backstage segments where you're not necessarily doing interviewing but like you're just caught there, like in
yeah.
intermission, just like little small things. If you have a handheld microphone and if
Mm,
they have a microphone cover with their like logo on it, then you're plugging both at the same time, your
yeah.
shirt, their promotion.
Yeah.
It's
And it
the
makes me
little things.
excited because, like,
Yeah.
for you, do you ever like with your different gear, the outfits you wear, do you ever
Mhm.
have to like look through your closet and go, nope, worn that one, worn that one. I need to get a new that one.
All the time. I'm a huge marketplace nerd. It's usually why I'm on Facebook, is because I'm just like scouring dance outfits and like jumpsuits and stuff. I try to keep my outfits now, with the possibility of ring movement. Not just for getting in and out of the ring, but in case anything else. Because sometimes I've gone to a show and thinking I'm just doing interviews, and then suddenly I'm doing, I'm bumping, and I'm like, oh god, okay, or like I'm giving a DDT, and I'm just like, good thing I'm wearing shorts tonight. Good thing I brought shorts. Um, but I also, so for Kaizen shows, because the posters are always like movie themed and very themish. I like to match my makeup and as much as I can with the outfit to the poster. And then I always have a headband with like a bow and a little microphone that I made. So that's sort of like what I always keep. And then my outfits rotate to match either like the show poster or like the show name or the show vibe. I try to like match it to that. Or if it's like, you know, an important time. Um, like the last show, my makeup represented the International Day Against Transphobia, Homophobia, and Biphobia. But then my outfit matched the poster, so I was a little chaotic there, but this is where my cosplay, I think, kicks in.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that like there's so many people that are in the wrestling world that they don't have that, they have their niche, but we all know what you're like. I've seen pictures you dressed up in character costumes And then, as you said, sometimes you wear the dresses, like
Mm.
the onesies and stuff like that. Have you ever thought of like doing like old school gimmicks, like like the glow? Like, yeah, ever watch the shows on
Yeah.
Girls on Glow? Do stuff like that, like those kind of outfits also.
Um, I I personally wouldn't, just because Glow, each of those wrestlers were caricatures. Some of them were characters of other cultures. Um, so I probably wouldn't do it in that sense. But again, I like the idea of applying sort of a thematic aspect to my outfit. So in that case, instead of, being culturally appropriating, like, I don't want to do that. I would rather just embrace my more wacky costumey side. Um, I am a huge anime nerd, so a lot of my outfits originally were very like had a lot of like bows and like magical girl vibes. Like my first actual like in-ring wrestling gear was Sailor Moon themed, because I'm a huge nerd for that. So I'll do little things like that, I guess, but um typically I keep it to like most of my outfits are dance outfits because I'm also cheap, and because I'm not wrestling like 300 and some odd days a year, like I will easily spend some money on a like cute dance outfit that like could work for both non in-ring and in-ring versus like spending a lot of money on actual wrestling gear. I'm like, no, those gear makers can focus on full-time wrestlers. I will just be cheap and buy stuff off of dance moms when their
Yeah,
kids grow out of it.
and like you can always go to like a store and get some cool leggings and get like find
Yeah.
a cool shiny dress that you could move around in and not be scared that you're gonna put your leg like to the side and then rip goes to tights and you're like, oh look, she's wearing kitty underwear. Oh no, like
Yeah, no. It would rip to just more tights.
it'll be like SpongeBob and I ripped my pants.
But yeah, I try to like I also one of the reasons why I'm limited in doing in-ring stuff is because I have chronic knee issues, and anytime I'm doing anything that requires me to stand for too long or do anything physically active, I have to wear knee braces.
Mm,
So I always have to make sure that my outfits can accommodate my medical devices. So sometimes I can't like um like like leggings. I've never work out in leggings because I can't wear them. I'm like, nah, wide leg pants. Let's bring those back.
yeah, yeah. That's like my only fear. Like if I did have to take a bump, I would yeah, it sounds horrible. Be like most wrestlers, I demand this. Only thing I would ask if they had me take a bump or they wanted me to get swatted, my glasses, I would ask the promotion to go on Amazon and get me a replica of the glasses I normally wear, like something like this,
Mm-hmm.
and say, just get me a replica pair. And if the wrestler wanted to be mean and be like, Joe, come here, if they're Italian, hey Joey, come here, I got something for you, and then smack me in the face or swat me or not pop me, but like hit me with a jab, like blip, like be
Hmm.
mean and take my glasses and go right in my face. You deserve this, and I'll be like, and they turn around. I'm just like, I get the crowd pop. I'll be like, they turn around all excited. What are you gonna do about it? And I just turn around. And I'm just like,
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Or like if you could wear contacts.
yeah, and wear contacts, but these are like the fun glasses because I don't know, Papa Panther would be too happy if he'd seen my glasses that they bought me would be snapped. He'd be like,
Oh yeah, no, don't do that. It's
yeah,
like, you know, you don't want to like break things. But also like, you know, obviously the person that's working with you probably wouldn't want to do that either.
yeah. They'll feel bad and be like, Joe, your red glasses are iconic. I can't really smash them. And be like, just go to Party City. They're about to go out of business in the Americas and just buy a whole can I just buy like 50 of those? Yeah, I'm going to get them from my friend Joe. Joe, I got you 50 bags of red glasses. What am I going to do with them all? Like, that's literally how
Yes.
my voice would crack. If someone, hey, Joe, we just bought you red glasses. Thank you, but what am I going to hand them out to children at the show?
I don't think I've ever had anything, well, other than like obviously like physical, the RKO or cutters. No, I've had like water bottles thrown at me. Um, I find sometimes often, and I don't know if it's because like it's not as common of a thing, um, but also like if it's just also because I present as like a small female, that like the not get it, like it's funny because I find a lot of times the segments I'll do where like maybe that might happen. It's like other than when I was working with JP, um, who was the one doing the cutters, sometimes the heels wouldn't push enough. And I'm like, no, you can be mean. Like actually push me. And they'll be like, no, no, no. I'm like, push me. And
Do
it's like I always
it.
appreciate the ones that just like go fully into it.
Mm.
It's a good sign of like a seasoned vet is when they're able to do that. Actually, JP was my first interview was JP Sims, and it was him and Reverso, um, who was a
Remember
baby.
him?
Yeah, that match was amazing. Dan,
I miss him. I miss
right?
Reverso. He's
Same. I love you, Dan. All versions of
Dan the
you.
man. I miss Dan. If you're watching this,
He
you're gonna laugh.
always comes up. I can't help it.
Fun
He's
fact about Reverso. He's gonna go. Don't say that name. He was the first wrestler from Canada to ever send when Verso was going away. He sent about like 5 or 6 8x10.
you've mentioned that, yeah.
I have them in my room somewhere. My mom's just like opening them up. My mom's like, I got the shirt. I wear because my real kayfabe last name really starts with an R.
Mm.
And my dad's like, oh, he sent you a shirt with your first letter of your last name. But aren't you Joe Panther? Why would he do that? It's like breaking your character. And I'm like, his character is
Because
called Reverso R. He's like,
they have
but
arrows because he reverses things.
yeah, my dad,
Reverses wrestling.
Papa
Um,
Panther
but
thinks real life.
it was my very first interview ever, and he came in baby face, all like yeah, did it, and then JP like immediately follows and just put and like I've known JP for years, and like such a nice fella outside of wrestling, love him to death. Freaking boom goes like full into my face, pins like I'm up against the wall, just screaming at me and he's like full heel, and I was like legit terrified. I was like, oh my god. That was like 2021. Yeah, 2021. And like people will still mention it to me. They'll be like, that time. And I was like, that was terrifying. But I'm quite proud of it. And like even my trainer, um, at Kaizen, Kovi, he was just like, nah, we could tell that was real. And I was like, yeah, I'm used to JP being like, let's go play Zelda. And then he's yelling at me. But like, those are like the good moments that you can like organically make.
You gotta tell him if you once again if you're watching this episode, Rosa. Hey, dude, we gotta have him back. Like next month, September is for it's not next. We're in June. Joe, get with the program. September's Lucha month, Joe. God, don't you know your own calendar? No, I don't even put with your episode. I knew that I had you set up to come on the podcast because I was just excited because you're Tina, and I was just like, I can see Tina from Bob's Burgers going like every time I say your name, Tina
And
doing
Bob's Burgers
the
references I get.
yeah. I get you got Tina in my brain. I say I say your name and I get Tina twerking. It's just like that's
It's funny
another
because whenever I
concept.
think of Tina Belcher, I think of like the car parking lot scene where it's just like she's driving the car and it's going like so slowly and she's just going, ah, because I'm like, that's me in my head.
Literally last night I interviewed Sergeant Slaughter's daughter when she sent me the promo, and she's like, Ted Hut, I'll be making my debut on the Dudes at Ringside podcast, and then Tina going, what my God. Sergeant Slaughter's daughter just said he's coming on to ringside, crying, going, we did it. I
Ah,
made it. And then she met Goldie. She met Goldie live on
ah.
camera. Put Goldie up to the camera and she's like, hi, Goldie. I'm just like, almost dropped the belt in front of the camera. I was like, oh my God, Sergeant Slaughter responded to a message that she sent him during after talking about my cousin Pete Sanchez, and he's like, I remember Pete. And I'm just like, Sergeant Slaughter knew somebody in my family. Oh my God, I'm not having it. God, get me some
Nice.
water. Like that bald guy that doesn't like spiders on Instagram. Get me a bottle of water, stat. Like,
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, that's me freaking out when adding another child of WWE Wall of Fame as I imaginary. Make a real Wall of Fame. But then my mom would be like, "Why do you keep putting all these 8x10s on the wall?" That's why I get them, huh? That's why I get. I
I
don't
used
have
to
any.
have a wrestling wall when I used to have like a little mini gym, like a foldable bench. And then above it I had like string lights and a little corkboard wall where I had like it was like my wrestling inspiration wall. So it was all like different promotions I've worked with, different people I've worked with, like posters, tickets, like my very first wrestling show ticket, and like my very first training notes. Like I just had this little like inspirational wall.
Yeah. For me, it's just looking at my grandfather's picture every morning when I wake up.
Mm.
My grandpa's picture and his wrestling ID, and below him,
Aw.
it's the dude's a ringside logo. My mom made it like a statue of the logo, and it's on my
Aw.
wall. It's almost like in Ghostbusters 2 with Vigo's painting, and
Mm.
then right below it's the dude's a ringside logo. So it's like, oh, like he,
Aw.
he's if it wasn't for him, that wouldn't exist. My dad didn't understand why I wanted to put the logo underneath his picture, and I'm
Mm.
like, if it wasn't for him, this wouldn't exist.
That's
Like,
sweet. My partner for Christmas made me a little leather, like a little championship belt with like a heart, and it had DDT because like my nickname is DD Tina. And on the
oh,
side, he did a little leather version of my cat Bootsy that passed recently. And then so I have that up next to his food dish that I glued a bunch of like crystals in, and then the first show we did together after he had passed, my boyfriend does makeup as part of his wrestling gimmick, and he did his makeup like I didn't realize, but he did it like similarly to Bootsy's, and he did like a little gray or a little white in his mustache because Bootsy had a little bit of white in his chin, and he had a little bit of white on his forehead, and like it was, and that's what I always think of, and I'm just like, oh, that was so.
oh, that's so cute. That's cool. That's so cute that like you did like a tribute to your dog, your cat. Like I my sister's wife lost her cat, Kitty. Kitty passed away, and I lost one of my nieces. She was such a good kitty. God rest her soul. Bless you, Kitty. We miss you. Angel's getting like, Gilly did a tribute to Kitty. Yeah, had to. She's my niece. I had to play tribute to her. She was a good kitty.
Yeah.
That's my niece. I had to play tribute to her. She's an older niece. She was 16 like Dexter was. So
Ah, Bootsy was 15. He was.
no, it
We
was
have
rough
a
with Dexter. Yeah, it
we
was
have
rough with
another
Dexter.
we have another gal who she's also 15, but much Bootsy was very sick prior to getting sicker. And she's somewhere. But she's just fluffy and sassy.
Aw, that's cool. Do you, do you ever think that like with wrestling, do you think there's like ever a moment that you're like, all right, I'm gonna take time away because I know you lost your cat. Did you ever think you should just take a break from wrestling because of like your animal, like your fur baby?
Um yes, not necessarily because of my cat. I've really dialed back in my actual wrestling training, partly because of my health issues, but also finding that balance between being someone that like I'm not physically capable with my health issues of being a full-time wrestler, and the niche role that I have in this area is very niche, and honestly like a lot of promotions do use that role, a lot of them don't. So it can honestly get really frustrating, trying to find that balance of like I can't like I want to physically put more time into training, um, and then I try to put more effort into the other thing, and I sometimes there's moments where I feel like I just want to like completely give it up, and then I remember the reasons why I got into it. And sometimes like there was one time where I just like I went to a show as a fan, and then I was like, dang, this is why I got into this business to begin with.
Mm.
And then it like pulls me back in.
It's crazy and sad at the same time that most people will step into this wrestling world and get scared and then run away. But like it seems like you've really embraced and you've really like jumped into it wholeheartedly, you know?
I enjoy one of the things like I never grew up watching pro wrestling.
Mm.
Um I got into it much later in life, and it's funny cuz like I got into it primarily through Japanese wrestling and cosplay wrestling. So like the two we like very aggressive Joshi wrestling, but also like very outlandish at the same time. And then like cosplay wrestling, because I was in the cosplay world, kind of helped me as well. And then I found WWE, and actually like started to really delve into that. And I realized that pro wrestling is so unique as an art form because it's like a mash of like it's physical theater, and like I love theater, and I never got to be physical cuz like I've had my physical health issues since I was a child. I never did sports growing up because I couldn't. So like I never really got to do that, and then I got to a point in my life where I was physically a little bit better when I started training, and then I discovered this beautiful world of like physical art. And like I love art, like I love painting, I do spoken word. Um I attempted to dabble in music. Like I love so many different versions of art, and then suddenly it was like a version of art that could let me at times become like physical and like do fun things where like suddenly I felt like I was cool, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm the shit." And like I feel like I'm top of the mountain, and like it's very rare to find something like that that gives you that opportunity, and like pro wrestling is the perfect example of it to me.
Awesome. Have you ever thought of like dabbling like most like wrestlers they won't use their wrestling stuff and paint like or paint something into ode to a show you're doing and sell it at a table and see if a fan would buy it. You know what I mean? Like wrestling art.
Oh, oh, I've never really thought of that. It's funny because, like, so before I was doing wrestling or got into wrestling, I was attempting as a side hustle to like paint and sell my art and do like prints and stuff at like in like cons and stuff. And it's part of the issue in our area. It's very small and very centralized, and but also like very packed at the same time. Oddly enough, wrestling is kind of like getting like that way now because there's such a boom. So it was very hard for me to like I did a few conventions selling art, and I didn't really make much money, but there was also like, so many other people doing the same thing. And like because there's not and because it's such a small area, everyone goes to the same conventions, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a very saturated, and so I kind of like fell out of that and then got really into wrestling. So I never really thought about like selling. um that being said, my partner will, because part of his shtick is he's very like crust punky, but he's also an artist. Actually, he did all the paintings here behind me.
That's
Whee!
cool.
Yeah, and he at one show he did like a pay what you can, and he had like little cardboard cutouts, and he would just paint quick paintings for fans. And people loved it. And I was like, it was a really neat idea where it wasn't like he wasn't selling 8 by 10s. like or stickers like most ones. It was just like pay what you can, and he would give you a little doodle with some paint markers on a piece of cardboard.
That's cool. I really
Yeah.
like that. That there's a wrestler by me. He I don't know how much charges for his art, but he uses like spray paint. Like he'll
Mm.
spray paint like he'll spray paint something and he'll sell it at the show. My dad's like pretty much he's charging for spray paint. Yeah, man. Yep. That's what you're doing. Spray
That
paint's
stuff's
expensive.
expensive.
Yeah.
I used to get that for my art cosplay armor. That stuff ain't cheap when you need a lot of different colors. That's also
Yeah.
really impressive because like so one of the venues that we do shows at is a really nice theater and like they would not allow that. So it's really dope that they have an area that he can do that in.
Yeah. They're
That's
talking
really
about chemicals in the air. That's like that's
yeah.
dangerous. Like I don't know,
And
maybe
also
he brings
like
it with him, but
well, we have an artist here that does it at conventions. And he actually he travels around I think now a lot in Canada where he'll do like spray paint art, like really fast stuff, and he has like stencils, and he'll do like a lot of like nerdy silhouette stuff. So like you wanted like cast Final Fantasy spray paint, and it'd be like a silhouette of them above a moon or something like that. Um, it's I know like it's I never really thought about that. That's a really cool thing to do that at a wrestling show.
yeah. That's Visage. That's what the name of the wrestler is. He traveled. I don't know if he's been.
Ah,
Do you know of Visage?
I think heard the name.
Visage. Yeah, he has like dreadlocks. He's a neon ninja. That's what he's
Mm-hmm.
called. He like either he will come to the show and spray paint something, or he'll have it and he'll put it on the table. He actually, I had it in my poster, and he spray painted my poster like with his thing as he came out to
Ah,
the ring. I was like, oh, thanks.
well, I
Like,
just saw too that Lee Moriarty from Ring of Honor, like he did a painting, and apparently it's like in this like museum, like an art, yeah, and he's like the first. They're like they made an Instagram post about it, how like he was the first pro Ring of Honor pure pro wrestling champion to like, and first pro wrestler they said to like have a piece of art taken by like a museum, and it was a really cool like lucha painting.
it's cool.
Yeah,
It's
I was like, oh, that's really dope. And like good of them to like highlight that because that's a really cool thing.
yeah.
I like
Um,
when wrestling crosses different streams. I'm a huge fan of that.
yes. Same with me. I think it's super cool to see wrestlers embracing their other side of their brain, because
Hmm.
wrestling, it kind of gets your brain in one direction, and you're dealing with all kinds of stuff, remembering the spot, remembering you got to take a bump, remembering this, like, because remember, you take that bump and then your brain sometimes gets a little wiggler, you know what I mean, Tina? Like,
I do, especially if you whip your bump, but also just remind it that also comes with like out needing the bump part. It's very fun to try to remember your spots and the other person's spots.
yeah.
The amount of times that like, you know, if I think yeah, no, I've had a my first match was well, we had like another issue happen, but like a complete shine got missed, and I was like, "Hey, crowd won't know."
Oh geez.
Oh no,
Like,
it
yeah.
happens all the time. As long as
It,
the crowd doesn't know, like that's the thing. It's like like as wrestlers, you're creating a story that only you and the other person know. That and your referee to a degree should know. Make sure your referee knows the spots too that they
yeah.
need to. Importantly, and but like you're telling this story to the crowd, and like you know sometimes it gets really complex. Even sometimes when it's the simplest, it's like you can still make errors as long as the number one rule is it safe remains. Like, you know, if it looks cool and tells a fun story, that's what matters. And it's like you missed a shine, you missed your spot, you know? Your heat might go on a little bit too long and you got to bring it back around as long as it, the crowd is entertained by it by the end of it, like you're good.
Yeah. Pretty much, Tina. Tina, if my fans want to follow you on social media, how can they find you?
Instagram, and I did just reinstate my TikTok, Tinks_Babs.
Okay. Um, is there any way anybody could pick up anything of yours if you have anything?
Yeah, now that there isn't going to be another postal strike in Canada, woo! I do have stickers and I am planning on doing prints. I have some cosplay prints that I'm going to just drop in my Instagram as ones that I will sort of like take as order. And then I will have most of my stickers I typically have at shows, but I think I'll probably do the same for that too. So just keep an eye out on my Instagram, and I'll probably just drop a post about when you'll be able to start ordering those.
Awesome. Is there any shows in June that you want, if my fans for some reason are in Canada in the area you do your shows and they want to buy a ticket? Is there any upcoming shows you want to talk about before we go?
Not quite sure in June actually. July 5, Atlantic Pro Wrestling, which is in New Minas, which is the Valley, and then August 2nd, Death Wish at Kaizen Pro Wrestling, which is on Alderney Landing. That is also put on IWTV afterwards and YouTube. Or you can see it live at the beautiful Alderney Landing Theater in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia on August 2nd.
Awesome. Tina, I want to thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. It's an honor to have you on. One of my favorite people. You're literally one of my favorite people because you have the same kind of energy as me. I bet you if we met, we'd be like, everybody's like, geez, so we know, geez, you guys know each other? No, we just have the same energy. I guess if like you would have to teach me the bump, and then you have me doing the spot with you, and like instead of you taking the bump, taking the RKO this time, you throw me in front and then have me get RKO'd. I'm just like on the ground. You're like, did the glasses break?
Did the glasses break?
They didn't break, but they're in my nose now.
I'll save my DDT off the buckles for when you're not wearing glasses or when you have the
Oh, you'll
party
just
city
do this.
glasses.
Watch. I'll just take. You'll be like, sorry, Joe. He's over here. What? Did you take me off the like?
That'll
Okay.
be my heel turn. I'll be like, your glasses are smudged. Let me just fix this, and I'll just throw them back, and there you go.
DDT.
Yeah.
My first trip
Straight
to
into that.
Canada. My first trip to Canada, and I get DDT'd by Tina. Just like,
Done.
you trying to replace me, Joe? I heard from management you're trying to replace me, and you don't even live in Canada. Oh my God, you.
There's another ring interviewer in New Brunswick though, Tanya, and I love her stuff in that promotion. And there's a small part of me that's like, my boyfriend used to work at those shows, and I'm like, if you do, I want to come as your manager and just like feud with her. Be like, not gonna be. I was like, I'm just gonna like challenge every word, especially because like it's like talks with Tanya, and I'm like, the alliteration with T names. Oh, we're battling.
That's great. So Tina, thank you so much for coming back on
Thank
the
you.
podcast. I'm Joe Panther III,
I'm Tina Babineau.
and we will catch you in the next one.